Ahoy and welcome to Hero Builds, where I'll be going over my casual gamer style hero builds for Heroes of the Storm. Once again, these are casual styled, so they are for your casual gamer. Do not expect to take these into your ranks. Basically become a god. It's not going to work. Right, next up we have the Butcher. Now, the Butcher has an amazing kit with Hamstring, which slows enemies as well as dealing a moderate amount of damage. Butcher's Brand, this is great as a survivability trick, although they do tend to run away the moment you apply this, so there are tricks you can do with that. And as your final basic ability, you have Ruthless Onslaught. This is great for engaging in a fight. Now, your trait is a bit of a weird one. It's basically a quest, and the more meat you have, because things that drop meat means the more damage you will eventually do. And then you have his two heroics, Lamb for the Slaughter and Furnace Blast. Now, I will say from here, what you do with them is up to you. Now, for the first talent, I tend to pick Block. I don't really see a lot of people pick this, however, I do find this generally does help with his survivability. And for the second, I pick Flail Axe, which does increase the overall length of hammering. For the fourth ability, I go for the passive, Victuals, whatever that thing is called. And for the heroic, I tend to go with Furnace Blast, although Lamb for the Slaughter is still a very good choice if you feel that is required. For the level 13, I go with Cleaver, basically to try and deal out more damage as quickly as possible, particularly when it comes to his level 16 ability. This does help in general because you are going for, or I am going for, Blood Frenzy, which does increase his overall attack speed, and the pair of them do work together, which I find very, very helpful. Then for his final ability or talent at level 20, I utilise Nexus Blade. Now, utilising his 13, 16 and 20 does just make, in conjunction with his trait, if you hit level 20, your basic attacks are ruining near enough everything. Now, there are other abilities or talents that you can go with. I have noticed that a lot of people for his third talent do go with the Insatiable Blade, which increases the Butcher's brand healing from 75% to 100% of your basic attack damage, and you also increases your movement speed while under Butcher's brand by 20%. This is entirely up to you. Obviously, these are casual style gameplay, however, I do find that the build I go for works very well, and admittedly in the gameplay footage that I am showing, I came under the effect of an Abathur. This was not actually intended, although it does highlight the brutality of a Butcher with an Abathur who has picked the increase in attack speed perk. Now, in general, the Butcher is a very high risk assassin, I personally find, and as a whole, I am not too scared of dying with him, due to the fact that generally speaking, I can take out 3, sometimes 4, often as well the entire enemy team, at least before I die. When engaging in a fight, if it's up against the entire enemy team with this build, I have discovered that I can actually either pick off 1 or 2 of them before I pop it, or I can get the entire enemy team down to half health or below. So he is a very high risk character, often trying to stay at the sidelines until an opportune moment to strike arises, or you can just go full in and just wreck things until your team arrives as a little bit of a backup. As a whole, I personally would say he is the most damaging character in the game, particularly with the build I have picked. I'm not going to say it is the best build. It is very high risk. It doesn't have the most sustain, but like I said, I'm not scared of dying. I'm running in, I'm dealing as much damage as I can, and if I can, I'll then run out and possibly just, not die or head back to home base and heal, etc., etc. But Do expect to die, do not expect to be the most wondrous thing going. However, you should, in general, quite literally wreck. He is an amazing assassin. He does have some pretty good sustain when utilising his Butcher's brand. And personally, with me, whenever I am playing as Butcher, not trying to brag, but I do get MVP every frigging time. I will die a lot. You might have just seen I got 8 kills and 4 deaths with 9 assists. Generally outdo everyone by near enough double hero damage. I would say this is partly due to cleave, because if you're hitting one enemy, you're hitting all of them around you, which I do find in general beyond useful. And he is a massive threat. So as a downside to the Butcher, do expect to get focused. I think everyone knows he can hit very hard, so do expect to get focused, even above healers, because you haven't got the greatest health pool, and a healer, unless it's Morales that's constantly attached to you, you're going to go down pretty easy, even with a healer's assistance. So just be warned that you will most likely get focused. Now, I am showcasing this in an AI match because it does mean that a lot of people have actually gotten onto the fact that focusing the Butcher is generally a good idea. And in quick matches or even in ranked, if you play as the Butcher, you do tend to go down pretty quick. So I wanted to actually get some actual gameplay to show you, rather than me just constantly dying from getting constantly focused. So the Butcher is a very good choice, and he is a pretty easygoing assassin actually as well, if you wish to start on the whole assassin front. So overall, really, in general, he is probably one of my more favourite characters, to be honest. He is an amazing assassin. He works very well in team compositions, whether it's ending the fight or starting the fight. He has some pretty good CC capabilities, whether it be stunning or slowing them down. Using Lamb for the Slaughter does pick out enemies, whether it's a high risk enemy that you just don't want in the fight, you can just pin him out for a little bit, or whether it's something you just need to get rid of. That is also a great utility. However, I do prefer Furnace Blast just for the overall damaging effect, because I'm literally trying to build my Butcher to be a glass cannon, which might not be the best idea, but I am able generally just to scare off at least the entire enemy team with the damage that I am able to dish out. I got a little bit of a hard on for the Leoric in this match. I think I killed him about 5 times overall. So you really are able to wreck even some of the hardest of tanks, and I do find him an amazingly great fun character to play. He's just ruthless and persistent, and if you play him correctly, he can wipe out the entire enemy team by himself. So just be warned if you're up against one, because when I'm up against one, I do tend to brick one. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you pretty darn soon. Ta-ra!